Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is just going to be a chit-chatty one, which is why I'm here. When I was doing my handbag declutter video, it just felt a bit more casual, so I thought I would do this video just sitting on the floor of my closet. I wasn't actually planning on doing a video on the Chanel price increase, mainly because I followed Chanel for such a long time that price increases are just nothing new. There have been so many since I first started buying Chanel, but I got so many requests to do this video on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, pretty much everywhere, so I thought I would go ahead and share some of my thoughts. I have a feeling that some of my opinions might be a little bit unpopular, but as I said, I've lived through a lot of Chanel price increases, so yeah, I just thought I'd share what I'm thinking about the whole situation. Before we get stuck in, I did want to let you guys know that a new discount code has gone live with Mytheresa. This one is available pretty much worldwide. I know Germany is excluded, I think, but most other countries are included, including the US, UK, and most of Europe. It is 20% off in the US on orders over $500, and it's 15% off in the UK on orders over £500. Not everything is included. There is a landing page with the full selection of what is included though, so I will leave the direct link for that in the description section, as well as the discount code you'll need to shop it, because the discount codes do vary from country to country. I do also have a blog post with all of my picks, so I'll pop that in the description section if you did want to check it out. I placed my order this morning and hopefully it will arrive fairly quickly. If it does, then I will post a haul. I think the sale goes on for about 10 days, so fingers crossed it will arrive in time. So the Chanel price increase, and I don't think we have all of the information just yet. The US, I don't think it's been implemented yet. I think it is supposed to happen very, very soon. In the UK, we're kind of in limbo because none of the stores are open at the moment and they don't sell online. So they used to list the prices on the website, but now it just says price upon request. So we don't know exactly how much in the UK it's been increased by, but the prices have gone live in Europe. I know that in some countries the prices were uploaded and then they were taken off, but there are some stores in Europe that are open, and I believe the price increase is around about 17% on the classic flaps. I think the price increase, from what I read, applies to the classic flaps, the boy bag, the 19 line, and then one or two others which I'm forgetting, but it's pretty much on everything. I think the exceptions are the seasonal, less popular bags, but I think pretty much everything else has experienced a price increase. So as for my own personal thoughts and feelings about the price increase, they are kind of mixed. On the one hand, as someone who loves Chanel bags, you know, I love to buy Chanel bags. It sucks, obviously, you know, I don't think anyone likes to pay more, and every time Chanel increase the prices, especially on this kind of scale, it becomes more difficult to afford and more difficult to justify, even if you do have the money. And obviously we don't know exactly the price in the UK, but I think it's probably going to be around £6,000 for the jumbo, maybe a little bit less, but certainly close to the £6,000 mark. And for context, I mean, I bought my grey jumbo last year at the previous price, which was a little bit over £5,000, so it is a huge jump. It was an enormous amount of money to pay for this then, and it certainly required some kind of psyching up. I'd never spent that much money on pretty much anything other than property before, so to spend that much on a bag, it was just a lot. And to give further context, when I bought my black jumbo 9 years ago, this one, I think it was 2,400 or 2,600, and that was just after a really big price increase as well. I think this had increased by like £4,000, so I hadn't quite managed to beat it then. But obviously, kind of, you know, fast forward 9 years and they're way more than double that, which is just kind of crazy to think about. So yeah, it's really sad, I think, and I know that so many people kind of really save up for these bags, and especially if you were really close and then they just kind of keep moving the goalposts. And especially in the UK, where, you know, it was impossible to buy one just before the price increase, so the fact that they didn't give people a chance to buy them right before they up their prices by such a large amount, it's kind of unfortunate. I think, you know, if you give people a month's notice, I think it's one thing, but just to do it when you can't even, you know, try and get the bag that you want, that you might have saved up for, I don't think it's really ideal, and it's just kind of sad because obviously they're such an iconic bag and lots of people really love them. I just think it's sad that they weren't able to let people do that. I have seen that there is a lot of anger at this particular Chanel price increase, and I think that is down to two elements. So the first one is just the sheer amount of money involved, the fact that this has been a very, very large price increase. But the other part, from what I've heard and kind of read people saying, is that it's the fact that it happened in the middle of a pandemic. And as I mentioned, I don't think it was good of them that they did it at a time when people can't go and try and beat the price increase if they were just about to buy one, because there will have been people who have been saving up for this a long time, and it just feels like Chanel moved the goalpost. But I also kind of think that the pandemic is an irrelevant point when it comes to price increases at something like Chanel, because, you know, these are extreme luxury goods, and it's not as if they are price gouging hand sanitizer and face masks and things like that. You know, these are extreme luxury items, and it just isn't affecting people in need. You know, if you're in need, you're probably not buying a Chanel bag. And so I just don't think that the pandemic point is that relevant. You know, I think it's really important to remember that if you are in a position where a Chanel price increase affects you, that is an extremely privileged position to be in. And, you know, there are shades of grey. Obviously, a Chanel customer spans from someone saving up to buy their first Chanel all the way to the kind of person who can buy 10 Chanel bags at one time and not even think about it. So I get how there's a lot of variation, but even someone who's kind of saving up for a bag, you know, that's still a very privileged position to be in, because these bags are so expensive. And I just don't think it's the same as them, you know, putting up the prices of toilet paper or food or anything like that kind of everyone needs. I do think one thing to keep in mind is how Chanel have treated their employees during this time. You know, they released a statement saying that they weren't furloughing any employees, they weren't making any temporary redundancies. I think they actually also said that they weren't applying for any of France's state aid, preferring to make that money available to the companies that need it more. And I just think that's a really great thing. And I think this pandemic has shown us that not all companies act with that same level of integrity. So the fact that they did is something to admire, especially if you consider that all of their revenue has dried up, you know, and I don't think Chanel is struggling at all, but they don't sell online, so they've literally generated no income, and the fact that they have stood by their employees is a really, really good thing. So, you know, they're obviously not kind of above all criticism, but the fact they have acted in this way to their employees is a really, really decent thing. And I think my kind of final point in defense of Chanel is the fact that whilst price increases suck, and I think we can all agree that they suck, price increases are also a really big part of what makes Chanel Chanel in terms of their longevity, their resale value, and it's important to remember that you don't get one without the other. You know, the reason why, I think I read that like Chanel is the #1 bag in terms of the pre-loved market. There is a massive resale market when it comes to Chanel bags, and the reason why they hold their value so well is because they have price increases all the time. If they didn't have price increases, they wouldn't have good resale value. So even though I don't think Chanel likes the resale market very much, you know, their price increases have a direct impact on the resale market. And the reason why a Chanel bag is considered such a good kind of investment bag is because of the price increases. So as much as I hate them, they are kind of part of the Chanel circle, and you really don't get one without the other. So do I wish Chanel bags were cheaper? Obviously, you know, I wish they were a tenth of the price that they are, but they're not. And do I think it's irresponsible of them? I'm kind of just on the fence, because at the end of the day, you know, they're a business and they have to balance supply and demand. And every single time I've gone into a Chanel boutique in the last year, and I've been to them, I went to one in Hong Kong, I've been to them in the US and obviously London as well, and every single time, it doesn't matter what country I've been in, they've always been completely packed. I've never been into one where it's been empty, and the fact is that demand isn't slowing at all. If anything, it's picking up. So from a business perspective, they have every right to do it. Do I wish that they had a bit more kind of loyalty to their customers in terms of not increasing the prices? Obviously yes, but they're a business and we have to kind of appreciate how businesses work. And as for whether I think it's still worth it to buy a Chanel bag and whether I'm going to continue to buy Chanel bags, I think it just depends on your situation and how much you want it, to be honest. If I didn't have any Chanel bags and I still wanted one now, I think if I had the money I would still buy it. I'm not sure whether I'll be buying any more, and I honestly don't know, and I said kind of I was going to stop 2 years ago and I just didn't stick to it at all. But I would say that every time there is a price increase, it becomes a lot more difficult to justify, and I think the kind of standard for how much I have to love it just goes up every single time. You know, it's one thing to spend £1,000 on a bag, which is still obviously a lot of money, especially on a bag, but to then go to £6,000, like how much more I have to love it, it just goes up and up every time. So I can't imagine the kind of bag where I would love it enough to spend £6,000, but Chanel also have a very good track record of producing very beautiful, very desirable bags. So never say never, but I would say that I would have to seriously love it in order to spend that much money, because it's just so much. And I know lots of people say it's kind of Hermes prices. I understand the Hermes point. I'm not kind of, you know, Hermes isn't a brand that I lust over in the same way I do Chanel, but I do understand when lots of people say, you know, they would rather get a Birkin or a Kelly. I totally get that, but for me, I'm kind of a Chanel girl more so than an Hermes girl. But yeah, never say never, but I can't imagine the kind of bag where I would be happy to spend £6,000. But yeah, who knows what the future holds. So that is it for this kind of chit-chatty Chanel video. Let me know your thoughts on the price increase down below. Are you over Chanel now? Are you boycotting them? Do you not care? Let me know where you're at in the comment section. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.